Everyone, welcome to Sunrise Extra on a Tuesday, and we are talking the S word.
So delightful.
No, we're singing.
Not Santa. Santa?
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Oh, yeah.
The S word that I was talking about.
We were warned. We were warned that we were going to start the day with Christmas tunes.
Yeah.
There they are.
Very appropriate. So you guys get snow maybe in your area if you're kind of in the upper elevation, because we saw plenty of it up in the upper West Hills. Look at Timberline Live this morning.
Oh, that's
where it's
beautiful.
supposed to be. Look how blue the sky is up there. Oh,
It makes the snow blue.
I think their base is about 40 inches up there right now, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Just like that.
Got skiing going.
Yeah.
Okay, Rod, I think you should just take it away. Like, let us know.
Well, a couple things. Tomorrow's snow chance is from an actual pretty good storm system coming in. So it's a completely different animal than what we had this morning, which I'll talk about. This is Futurecast tomorrow morning at 7:30. Now, the blue would be snow, and interestingly, this closes in snow on the east side and the west side. Washington County has some snow pockets up in parts of, Brian, go back for a second. Brian Matthews?
What are you doing,
Our
Brian
director,
Matthews?
click, you can't go, can you go back? I can go back.
He'll get there.
Pull it back up, Brian. Sorry. I got my clicker, Brian Matthews. I'll run the show if I may. Sir, our director.
Wow. Power play from the weather
Brian,
center.
by the way, is probably the best guy starring director I've ever had in my 30-plus year career. All right, we have, and then it shows the green pockets north of Salem. It shows some green north of Portland. So the point is, it's kind of a mixed bag. I'd say the only high confidence call for snow tomorrow morning that seems absolute in the forecast world is the Columbia River Gorge, where it's going to be snowing at least during the morning and maybe all day. It could be 4 inches accumulate, or 5 in places like Cascade Locks.
Wow.
If I push this button, it will go back to the 7-day, and you can see that we will be warming to 41 tomorrow. I keep Portland above freezing tomorrow morning at 35, and then warm to 41. But you know what happened last night was, and this was in the forecast, the fact that we had a light wind pattern, the showers were tapering off, the clouds broke for some partly cloudy conditions. That allowed the surface temperatures to get down to freezing in many areas, and whatever lingering showers there were became snow, and we ended up having, you know, really light dustings in scattered areas, kind of in all directions actually. And then we saw the live shots from the West Hills where they had about an inch on the ground. But so what's interesting is coming up tomorrow morning, clouds thicken up overnight tonight again, and it's very possible those clouds will lock temperatures in places like Hillsboro above freezing, and you folks would never get down, and you would just stay wet with nothing accumulating tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, the natural snow level, as we look at a live shot from Wells Fargo and some early morning sun coming our way.
Oh, beautiful.
The natural snow level tomorrow is 2,000 feet. But you throw in the east wind, which will pull out of the gorge tomorrow morning, and now you've got scattered cold pockets and scattered areas where we're getting snow, we're getting rain, we have a mix, we're below freezing, we're 38 degrees, and it's probably going to be a checkerboard mess tomorrow morning more than anything. It's not, I've been saying the West Hills could get 4 inches of snow tomorrow morning, but that's not a slam dunk. It's at least a possibility that even the West Hills are 35 degrees and raining tomorrow morning. That's at least a possibility.
Just for the folks who may have missed it, not seen it during our newscast, show some more of that video from the West Hills.
Yes,
I
please.
really loved it. I mean, those flakes were big, and I used to live up there. We just moved last year, and it was fun while I was up there, but I'm so glad that I'm not in the West Hills now. I like being down, you know, a little bit lower elevation.
It was surprising because I actually stayed up till 9 o'clock last night. I'm sure you were asleep before then, but you know, when I went to bed, I had no idea that this event was going to start happening in the area, you know, talking about like the metro area. Woke up this morning and saw the headlines on our website, and then came in and saw the video, and I was like, wow, that happened last night after I went to bed. And there was few hours I slept last night. There was some activity. Hillsboro is the one spot that comes to mind.
Which was in the forecast, by the way.
What do you mean? Okay.
You said you were
take it so
surprised
personally.
by...
No, I was.
How
I'm not thinking personally. I'm just reminding, because I think as a forecaster, you want to remind people when something was in the forecast or not.
You were just
That's
surprised
just a
about
fact.
how much
And then I got
moisture was
correct.
in the air?
No, so we showed this video clip that Brenda. We showed this video clip that Brenda wanted to go to up in the West Hills. And if you look at the video clip, if Brian can find it, it looks like, wow, there's at least several inches. And then we get confirmation later in the morning from our live reporter Devin Haskins that there's actually less than an inch up there.
That was like 12-hour difference.
So temperatures didn't change. There wouldn't have been anything melting off. So
Brian, the video
anyway,
you're looking for is...
So it looks like the West Hills had about an inch last night, which to me that would be on the absolute high end of what I thought was possible, to Drew's point. But remember the forecast last night was for skies to break up overnight, allowing temperatures to get down to freezing, and whatever lingering, we weren't sure how many we'd have, but whatever lingering showers we had would change over to snow showers. That was the forecast, and that absolutely came true.
I will say that I apologize. I misunderstood.
You don't need to apologize.
No, I do, because last night, if I walked away from the station yesterday, even after doing the noon show with you, I thought we were getting ready for the potential for snow on Wednesday morning.
Is.
Wednesday was what because Wednesday, and 90% of my time yesterday, to your point, was talking about what's going to happen tomorrow. Because last night was frivolous stuff, but tomorrow there's the real potential that we could have a winter event in parts of our area. The gorge, I think, is likely. The West Hills is 50-50 tomorrow. Wouldn't be surprised if it's 36 and rainy. Wouldn't be surprised if it's 32 and they have 4 inches accumulate up there. That could go either way. Downtown Portland, to me, it would be very surprising if we get down to freezing. So I think the best call for downtown Portland is maybe we see a mix of wintry weather with a temp of 35, 38, 39, or maybe it's just straight rain. Most of today in downtown Portland will, in fact, just be a steady rain day.
I don't envy your position. It's easy to ask the questions, or easier to ask the questions. Much harder to come up with the answers, an accurate answer. I would love to take a look at that video one more time, Brian. I apologize. That video of the snow falling last night.
Brian can't fall. There it is.
There it is. So this is the fall in the West Hills.
Like a storm.
So here's what I do. I'm like, maybe I'm very small-minded. I hear you say we could have a bigger event tomorrow. This event that we're looking at right now, quote-unquote frivolous. So you're telling me if you think that's impressive, wait till you see tomorrow? Because there's another part of me thinks like those areas we're showing that got the snow last night, they may not get anything tomorrow. I mean, that's not the gorge.
No, that's the West Hills. Right, the West Hills. And people that have lived here for a long time, I think, respect what I'm saying. I'm saying that tomorrow is the east wind. The natural snow level is 2,000 feet. But because of the east wind, which will start to blow overnight and tomorrow morning, we get an east wind event tomorrow. And those events, you can be bold and guess correctly sometimes as a forecaster, but most of the time you're going to lose that battle. They're guessing games. It's better just to throw it out and say this is an east wind event. There's reason to believe, which there is, that the West Hills could be nothing but rain tomorrow morning. There's also reason to believe the West Hills could be freezing, and if they are freezing, there would be enough steady moisture to accumulate 4 inches of snow up there tomorrow.
I have heard so many meteorologists say exactly what you're saying. I mean, over like 30-some years. It's nutty how hard it is to forecast snow sometimes.
And think about this: how many times, if you've lived in the area for a long time, and you've lived in different parts, like my in-laws lived in Gresham for, I don't know, 30, 40 years. Now they live up in Clark County. They think Clark County is flipping tropical because they've never been out of the east wind for 40 years, right? Yeah. So my point is, because of the varying topography in the hills in our area, they're like when at my house right now, when the south wind blows, we're gusty. Now I can drive 5 minutes into another neighborhood, and on the same day, they don't have any wind. Where I used to live, we would never ever get an east wind, but you go out to Gresham, it's blowing for 40 miles per hour. So these low wind patterns that we have because of the hills and the rivers lock in cold pockets of air, get trapped in some areas, while other areas get advection of warm air coming in. Yeah. That's why we have these checkerboard weather maps set up in these east wind events. When the weather system and the batch of air itself isn't strong enough to drive the entire situation. That's why I say tomorrow's natural snow level is 2,000 feet. But we're bringing in the east winds. Now you get the mixing of this area could get a cold air pocket while this area doesn't. And now you get, what do you mean it snowed? It was raining in 39 at my house. That could be tomorrow morning.
Interesting. Yeah.
Fascinating, Rod. It's exciting times, isn't it?
Gene Kemp says in Milwaukee at the moment, clear skies, wet ground, and 29 degrees.
Cold, yeah.
Yeah, Veronica Gaston says snow, she's all for it.
I think Veronica...
Gregory Henkel drives a 48-foot shuttle truck to Tillamook every day, so he is not looking forward to this forecast.
So they at least had 4 inches over the Highway 26 and probably similar amounts on Highway 6 that goes into Tillamook overnight. The ODOT camera on 26 is very ice and snow covered. And, you know, I go back to that natural snow level of 2,000 feet. That means it's kind of a question mark, actually, as to what even the coast range is tomorrow if it's rain.
Look at the
snow.
cloud. Oh, that was a cool shot.
Yeah,
the clouds.
that's a cool shot there, too.
I have a Joshua Madrid sighting on the
Oh, we do? All right.
Joshua Madrid.
Yeah.
Joshua says to us, good morning, as he always does.
Yeah.
So I didn't know this about Joshua. He lives out in the Bethany Cedar Mill area. Oh. He said we got a good, quote-unquote, snowing at about 10 p.m. that lasted for a few hours. Gorgeous way to end the night as I sipped a bit of scotch.
Oh.
And let the and let the nostalgia of snowstorms from the past come back to me.
Yeah.
Something about the dense, silenced hush of snowfall that soothes the soul. Ooh. And a little bit of that scotch, too, I bet.
Nice.
So Bethany's one of those spots that will warm into the 40s today. So that will be long gone before the next chance arrives tonight.
So you guys have an article on KGW.com that I linked to in our kind of what's happening thing. You and Matt got together and wrote up a piece about other chances of snow for the rest of this month.
Yeah.
And we've got a question now. What's the chance of a white Christmas? I mean, that's, you know,
Staub Miller
plus week away. But what do you think?
So the big answer to that question is there's been for several weeks now, if you remember my winter outlook, let's go all the way back to that. We said November would be the only month this winter that would average above normal, and it averaged significantly above normal, 3 full degrees. The rest of the winter, December, January, February, would average below normal. Now, December started off warm, but now we're getting colder. And there's been this cold air for several weeks building and dispersing up in Canada. I'm talking colder than normal for Canada, okay? And now that cold air that's been building for a couple weeks, over the next several weeks is showing signs it's going to finally start dropping southward into the United States. And one of those first initial drops of this cold air from northern Canada is showing up to arrive next Wednesday, which is December 22nd. And then that batch of cold air is going to be with us potentially all the way through the New Year's holiday. So now the question is, do we get individual storm fronts coming in that align properly with the wind patterns the way we need them to be to get snow? But certainly the air itself looks like it will be cold enough.
Interesting.
So a pattern that begins maybe next Wednesday, the 22nd.
Yes, sir.
You begin your winter break on what day?
I believe it's the 22nd.
Your timing is always impeccable.
I'll give you
Nicely
a report
done.
from Clackamas.
Nicely
That'd be
done.
so fun, though. Because a lot of people have, you know, those days off, thankfully.
Yeah,
kids for sure.
Yeah.
Years ago, though, this is like working in news for too many years, right? We had the big table spread out, Christmas Day, we're all eating, and the snow starts to fall. We're in front of a big picture window, and I have a little panic.
Anxiety.
I'm like, oh my God, am I going to get called in on Christmas Day? It didn't happen, but it was so lovely to see.
Do you think that was 2007 or 2008, or does it go back further than that?
I think it was further than that.
Because it did snow either our boys' first Christmas or second Christmas. They were still babies. I can't remember if it was 07 or 08. My mom came into town. She got stuck in San Francisco because there was a kind of a bad weather event up and down the West Coast back then. But we had snow falling on Christmas Day. One of those 2 years, right? I can't remember 07 or 08. And that doesn't happen too often where we have snow falling on Christmas Day itself.
So good at dates. It could have been. But I remember 2008, we worked up until like Christmas Eve. I remember running to Fred Meyer buying presents because we were just live extended forever.
Yeah.
Steve Lyman watching us from Sun River, most beautiful spot. It's 18 degrees. They have 10 inches of snow right now.
Is that 10 inches? I know the camera I look at it sits at the back of Sun River Resort. I didn't know it was 10 inches, but
they just have the most beautiful little village in the snow with all the Christmas lights, and it's
they really light it up, right?
Spot.
Yeah. Michelle Jones wondering, what about Seaside? So if you're talking about tomorrow, that is strictly rain at the coast. You'll probably wake up with a temperature of 40 degrees and it'll be raining pretty good.
Linda Saylor says hail or snow remains on cars in Lincoln City this morning. Becky's going to go to Ashland for Christmas.
And we have a couple people chiming in and saying it was in fact 2008 when we had that snowfall on Christmas. Trish says that. Shireen says that. 08.
Was that the year that, my memory, since I've gotten older, I'm about 5 years away from not knowing my name.
No.
What was the year here somewhat in the last 10 that it snowed heavily before Christmas? And then we had the record 10-inch snow depth, meaning the storm was before Christmas, but we still had 10 inches on the ground
that wasn't that
December
long ago,
25th, and that broke the all-time record for the most snow on the ground for Christmas Day.
I think it was December 16, January 17 is when we had like that combination.
Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't remember the years, but I remember the actual stats of the weather. Like I remember it was 10 inches of snow.
I think it was 16.
I just can't remember what year.
I think you're right, because we had in our old house, we had these transom windows, and I went to bed. Yeah, you know,
What's
the little
that?
toppers. They kind of look like this. They're right.
Oh, like
a
an
big
awning?
window, and then no, it's another little window, little shape.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I went to bed early because I knew we had early call for snow, and I just saw some light flakes, right? And I was up in the West Hills, and I do think, isn't that when you were saying that it was just, a little bit? And then I woke up and I had like a foot outside.
Was that the storm that was going to be 4 inches?
Yes.
And our news, I mean, I think this is, in today's world, I can say this on TV. So you may remember the forecast, and I think, I hate talking for other forecasters, but my memory says that certainly the majority of forecasters in town were talking about 4 inches, as was I. And then it started snowing heavily that evening, and my wife wakes me up around midnight. She's like, honey, it's really snowing. And I'm like, honey, I know it's snowing, just leave me sleep. I gotta get up and go to work. And she's like, no, it's really snowing. And I said, honey, we're gonna get 4 inches. She's like, honey, it's deep. And then as I wake up and I go look out the window, I'm like, holy crap. It was like 8 inches, I think, in a few hours.
Yes.
And then our news director at the time, I don't think Rick minds us using his name, Rick Jacobs, who is longtime assistant news director here at KGW TV. He texts me, and his exact words were, 4 inches my ass.
Yeah. Transom window, I got to figure it out now, by the way. So you got like a rectangular window. Maybe you have some blinds that cover that part, but then above the rectangle, there's like a little like oval or triangle kind of thing that's exposed without coverage.
Yes.
It's a very detailed description. Nice work. I can
Transom.
see it now.
Transom. Transom.
Yeah. There you go. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Stanford Walker asking, any streets closed from the snow? As far as we know, they're just icy spots, especially up in the hills, right? And the mountain.
Yeah, several of those school districts out in the Vernonia, Gaston, Nestucca Valley area, 2-hour delays this morning. Gil Ortiz watching us from New Mexico. Good morning to you.
Yeah, I noticed that yesterday.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
On vacation, or did you move, Gil? Let us know if you're vacationing or did you move. I'm curious.
I was surprised in that school delay list. You mentioned Vernonia in that area, but then also La Center was mentioned on that list. So it wasn't just
really?
centered to one area.
Yeah, Byron had. Well, again, it was scattered showers moving across the area last night, and with the clouds breaking up, everybody had a pretty equal chance to get down to 32. And if you had a passing shower, there you went. Yeah.
This is the last week for kids to get that snow day, perhaps before Christmas, because next week we talked about they're going to be off anyway.
Yeah.
This is my first foray into the holiday breaks.
So
from
no preschool,
school. No
preschool for your daughter next week.
Last week too.
Okay.
So we are, negotiating who's starting work late and who may be working from home.
Doing some parenting.
For a couple days next week.
Oh,
so
Is your hubby? So your husband's a firefighter.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, I don't know, because so many people are at home and they're trying to stay warm. They typically have little spot fires pop up more so than not over the holiday season?
In wintertime? It's a busy time. Cooking, candles, Christmas lights, stuff plugged in lots of places. And I think it's, the call volume is definitely up.
Yeah.
What
is that
Well,
face?
this is, I know we only have a few minutes left, and I don't know if we should spend those final minutes talking about behind-the-scenes scheduling, but I am very concerned now after that last statement you just made. Can we talk about this?
I have Monday off to watch her, and then we got to figure out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So some of those days, Dave is going to work. I'll be here the whole time.
Yep,
I'm not doing the noon, so it affects you not.
No, listen, but one time
made him panic.
she said the words work from home. And to me, that means you're going to work,
I'll be
but
here
not
for
going to do the show. Okay.
No, I'll be
then
here
you can
for the
go,
shows. And then for a little while afterwards, and then maybe I can work on some who knows what to let him get to work.
I'm just one person.
At least one day.
These are just my thoughts. My thought is us, this group, this foursome here,
Very selfish.
we should always be here for the show part of the day.
That is
and then
not
if you
in
want to work
question.
from home the rest of your shift,
that
by
makes
all
sense.
means, go for it.
Oh, well, I don't know. That's the attitude. I mean,
but it's hard to work from home and do this show in the early morning hours.
You did it. You brought a little
They forced me to because there was something happening called COVID, and we didn't know what was going to happen. They thought if we sat next to each other, we might die. So they sent me home and kept you here. They put you down at that studio in the square. You had to fend for your life to get there every day, but they still made you go there.
It's a little rough downtown sometimes. You're right.
Gil Ortiz is from Hazeldale.
Oh, yes.
Now lives in New Mexico.
He
So
left
he's
Hazeldale for
praying-
New Mexico.
Yes, he wanted warmer.
I never
don't know.
thought about
It's kind of
doing
high
that.
desert, isn't that?
Yeah.
Kristen Lebensky says, Nina, I think you should do the news from home while you chase a preschooler around. That would be
No, will not
hilarious.
work.
That
I
live
will be
shot,
here.
by the way, was the Oregon. The Oregon.
Dallas?
The Oregon Veterans Home camera from the Dallas. I
Yeah.
got to get this out right. Yeah.
It is a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. And you can see some
pretty.
snow
Snow
up in
way
the
up
high
high, yeah.
hills there, above the Dalles. Yeah.
What about people driving over like the passes and stuff here in the next week or so?
I mean, the passes and the Cascades are just totally snow covered and a mess from now as far as the eyes can see. There is the storm that comes in.
Jeez, okay. They're a mess from now until spring.
Yes.
Plus we have fewer ODOT plow drivers.
Well, I mean, they're well plowed and all that, but they're snow covered and slow going, and it's winter traveling. There is Saturday morning system could bump the snow level up to about 5,000 feet during the morning hours Saturday. So if that's the case, that would be some, some thawing out roadways before it turns back to heavy snow later in the day Saturday.
Okay.
The Coast Range definitely will be clearing out for this Saturday. What's this? Saturday morning, 5,000 feet. Saturday afternoon, 3,000 feet. Yeah, so Saturday travel over the Coast Range should be fine. Yeah.
So when is your Christmas vacation? When does the meteorologist take off?
So because lately when I've been off, we've had big weather events.
I've noticed.
Poor Chris McGinnis. So we have a tradition where we always go away, usually to the coast over New Year's. So I'm off the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, going into New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So I'm here all of next week during Christmas. Yeah.
Good man. Yeah. We will be here tomorrow as well. The forecast will take greater shape.
And the next day.
Because I am curious now. The last day on your 7-day forecast, I think, is next Monday right now?
Correct. It says...
I'm looking forward to seeing Tuesday and Wednesday start to develop next week.
Well, Wednesday is the day that right now it looks like we could have that front with the cold northern Canadian air coming in. But the flow pattern behind that initially on Thursday is a strong westerly flow pattern. So you would think that would be rain, but then we would see what would happen going into Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
Oh,
Stay
very
tuned,
interesting.
people. Stay tuned.
All right, you guys, you heard it here first. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.